We're at the point where we're ready to begin to create a page layout. And so here in ArcGIS, we can go down to the bottom, and there are these two little icons. The one is considered a map view, and the other is a document view or a page view. Very similar to the model space paper space in AutoCAD. And so if we click on the page view, we get a page here. Now, just like many other programs, you could go to File and Page Setup to set up your page size. I'm just going to go ahead and stay with the default 8.5 by 11 here. And then another particular thing to pay attention to is that if you want to view, zoom in the page view to work on some details or alignment things, you need to use the layout here with the paper behind the zoom out, pan. So what this does is that moves the whole page. But if you go to the model view and you're moving the data, and it'll have to regenerate. So that's just something to pay attention to. Now here we have our select elements, and what that'll do is if you double click, you can get inside to select elements, or if you just single click, you can move your data frame and things around. So I'm just going to kind of work with something like this. Now, depending on your project and what you're doing, you may just want an image, a map, a graphic. But in the case of creating a map with some detailed information, we'll want to insert a couple of things. So if we come up to Insert, this will allow us to put things in like a title, a legend, a north arrow, and a scale bar. Those things to me are very indicative of a good quality but simple map. And so what we'll want to do is we'll go ahead and insert a title, and I'm just going to call it Denver Figure Ground. Click OK, and then you can drag and move it around. Now if you double click on it, it brings you to the settings, so you could change the symbol of it, you could make it bold, you could make the text bigger, and mess around with that however you would like. Another thing we'll want to insert is a north arrow. I particularly like very simple ones. Some of these can be pretty gaudy and just downright awful looking from a graphic design point of view, but they're there if you need them. I want to go ahead and insert a scale bar, so graphic scale. And again, I typically go for reasonably simple ones. Click OK. You can notice that currently this one's in kilometers, but we can adjust that by simply double clicking on it as well, and we could do feet, or in this case might be more relevant to do miles. And you can also change the size to kind of get things to round off to whole numbers if you'd like. So we're at point A, we could go to 1 here, something like that. And then lastly, we'll want to insert a legend. And here they have a legend wizard, and you can tell it, for instance, if you want to put all of it in there, or you can remove certain layers. You can add them back in. You know, if you have a background image, you may not want that data in there, so you could take that out. You can adjust the number of columns, so if you have a complicated legend, you can have them broke across multiple columns. You can preview it, so it looks something like that. I could say, you know, that's pretty good, or I could split it into 2 columns if I had wanted. You can change the order of things here if you want to. Click Finish. I think this is, you know, pretty good. And then you can edit things by double clicking on it. You can get into various symbol parameters, the items, how they're laid out, whether it has a border around it. You know, you can bold things, and you can really dive down into the symbology and how many nuances you can get. But typically I like to keep it pretty simple. And another thing to note is that this is a live legend as it stands, and the thing with that is that if I change things here in my table of contents, it will refresh and update over here. So in this case it says building underscore outlines is not great for legends because it's pretty technical. And if I change the name, as you see here, by simply clicking on it, I could just say building footprints. Now, one thing to note is that this is just changing the map document reference to this layer. It doesn't change the actual shapefile title from building outlines. So you can see that updates, and the same thing with parcels. Let's go for consistency. Let's make the P in uppercase and parcels. So it looks something like this. And that is your basic page layout. Thanks.